On this beautiful, sunny but chilly Friday morning. I'm in Salisbury and I am at Walden Estates Fishery. Now this was one not on my radar when I was looking to come fishing this morning, but at the earlier start of the week, after ringing around and messaging I don't know how many fisheries, I was very lucky and fortunate enough to be given exclusive access to lake number 1, like I say, at Walden Estates Fishery. So I've got down here this morning, I've met Dave, and I've had a good walk around the facilities on site. Like I say, I'm going to be fishing number 1 with my good friend Matt. But before that, I just wanted to give you a really quick rundown of what's available at this fishery. So it's going to be an exclusive booking, exclusive lake booking for up to 4 anglers, I believe. But yeah, let me just take you inside this hut and just give you an idea about sort of what you're going to be getting for your money. So number 1 is all otter fenced all the way around, and then I just want to show you through this through here as well. If I can get the gate open, that is. Show you through here. Six, good boy. Show you through here. Just shut that gate. You don't need to bring mats, nets or slings. They are all supplied, so you don't need to bring any of that. So that's less luggage that you need to whack into the car or the van. But then in here as well, you have got sort of like an outside seating area, but obviously it's, you know, inside. So you've got patio doors and stuff like that. Not only that, you've got a nice big freezer here that you can use for bait as well, I've been told. So a few pictures up on the wall. What can be expected to be caught in Lake 1. So nice little touch there, something that you'll be able to mark off the list if you get down here and have 1 or 2 yourself. But yeah, sort of facilities wise, you can't go wrong really. It's got everything you need for your session. So real quick intro there, like I say, a little show and tell the sort of facilities on offer here at Walden State Fishery. I am like I say, it's probably coming up to 8 o'clock now. I've had a good walk around the lake with Dave, and he's given me a few pointers and stuff like that as to where fish have been coming out recently and sort of how they've dug it in little areas and stuff like that might be worth a rod or two. Bit of interest, you know, where to put me rods. But it's coming up to 8 o'clock. Matt's not due down until sort of lunchtime, so I think I'm going to load the barrow up, just take it down. There's a nice big double swim where both of us can fit in, obviously with a bit of distance between ourselves and options to left and right. And yeah, I think I'm just going to have a little mooch around really, and just see if I can maybe even nick a fish before Matt arrives. But that's enough of an intro for me for now. I'm going to get the barrow loaded up, and then yeah, I might, like I say, go and dabble a rod and see if I can nick myself an early fish. Whew, I'm absolutely, as fresh as it is, I'm absolutely roasting now, barrowing that gear up there. And yeah, coming back for the 2 mats and slings and whatnot. I'm absolutely roasting. But yeah, I've come back up here for a reason. Forgot to mention, the owner Dave, he's been feeding pellet in the fishery ever since they've pretty much had the fish in there, the stock wise, you know, ever since they've had the fish in there, they've been feeding pellet. And he has told me that basically I can help myself to anything out of these 2 bins. Basically it's going to be going in anyway, he said, so I might as well be using it, and Matt might as well be using it. They're accustomed to seeing it in the lake and yeah, it'd be silly not to make the most of it. So I've brought a bucket down with me. I'm going to put a few scoops of each into a bucket just so I don't have to keep coming backwards and forwards for the immediate time. Obviously we can see how the session pans out, whether we need to top the bucket up or not. But I think what I'm going to do is just take a bucket of bait round and just go and flick a few little handfuls in various different little areas that he pointed out to me this morning on the walk around, and just keep an eye on it really over the next couple of hours. When we did do our walk around right down in the far end amongst the lilies, there was a good couple of plumes of bubbles, and it was pretty obvious that there might be a fish or two down there. So I'm going to get a couple of scoops of pellet, like I say, in the bucket, and I might just go and have a little look, introduce a couple of handfuls down in, like I say, a few likely areas, and yeah, see what materialises from that over the next couple of hours. A bit fizzing up going on in here, a couple of sets of plumes of bubbles were going on down there. As you can see, this far end, it is in the face and it is in the teeth of this sort of cold northerly wind, but with all these lilies down here, you'd like to think that a couple of fish would be getting around in here. Like I say, it's, you know, it's reed lined. It's a really nice sort of corner, sort of finger bay, right at the end of the lake. And like I say, with so many lilies down here, you've got to think one or two fish have got to be sat up in there. So what I'm going to do, I think, is just put a couple of light handfuls of pellet just down here, just scatter it around in here, and just keep an eye on it over the next hour or so. Really, I'm not going to be setting up my stuff as such. I'm just going to be leaving it on the barrow for the moment. I said to Matt, we'll do a bit of a sort of flip the coin, pop up lid or whatever, so that we can decide on which side each of us want to go on. Don't want him whinging at me that I've chosen the best side before he's arrived, so I'll be leaving all my gear on the barrow, probably just setting up one rod for the next few hours, and then trying to maybe nick myself an early bite. But yeah, I'm just going to get a couple of handfuls baiting, I think, down amongst these lilies, keep an eye on it, make my way around the lake. There's a couple of other spots on the other side that I won't mind just chucking a couple of handfuls of pellet as well, and yeah, we can then, like I say, just keep an eye on it and see if we can get ourselves an early fish on the mat. But I'm gonna shut up now, go about baiting up a few spots. Right, okay, so you find me back down in that corner. I've had a good walk around, been watching all the spots for the last 45 minutes, hour or so. Nothing's really materialised, nothing's not really seen any interest at the moment. So what I'm going to do is just go on what I've seen sort of when I was doing the little walk around earlier this morning as I got here on arrival. So solid bag pumped full of oil to draw that attraction in, just to like I say, there's solid bag content. I'm going to lower it down where I see that fizzing up earlier. Like I say, I did put a handful or so of pellets just scattered around in that area. So yeah, I'm going to lower this one down, sit back, and just sit on it for an hour really and see what happens. So let's get this one lowered in. Well, I'm hoping you can hear me. This wind, as I said, was going to be getting 30-40 mile an hour gusts today, and it has really picked up. But as you can tell from the scenery behind me, I've come right up the opposite end of the lake. I give it a good best part of an hour down there, nothing materialised. But this morning when I was filling up the pellets in the bucket, I scooped them down just along this left hand side margin, because I knew that it was going to be sunny today, and this end would be seeing the best part of that sun as it made its way up over those sort of trees down the other end. Now the sun is nice and high in the sky, it's around 10:30, and I've just made another solid bag up, and I'm just going to lower it down on this reed line on my left hand side, and yeah, just basically sit back for another hour or so, and Matt should then nearly pretty much be here, and we can obviously look at what we're going to do for the rest of the session. But yeah, come up this end, although that wind's coming right over my head, it just feels about 20 degrees warmer, so you never know, the fish might be making the most of it as well. Like I say, I did put a couple of scoopfuls down this reed line, so I'm going to lower this solid bag in and yeah, sit back for an hour and see what materialises. Matt's arrived. We've made a friendly decision. We didn't bother flicking anything, flipping a coin, flicking a pop-up lid. I've gone in the left hand side, big double. Matt's gone on the right hand side. No one else is due down on the lake. We've got the lake to ourselves, and I have got a lot of water to cover with 3 rods. So I'm going to shut up now, get this coat off because I'm absolutely roasting, and think about getting brolly and that set up, rod sorted, basically get settled in for the 48 hours ahead. So first sign of fish activity. Thankfully it's in my area of the water, so one of my rods is going to be going off this island here. One has just literally shown about half a rod length just off the corner of this island. It's only a small island, it's not massive by any means, but yeah, one has just literally stuck his head out right on the corner there. So what I've done is very quickly knocked up a solid bag. This wind is just proving difficult to do bloody anything at the moment. It's an absolute nightmare, but knocked up a solid bag. Not that you can really see it with this light. Quick solid bag. I'm going to inject it with some oil just to give an extra bit of attraction, just to draw them down onto the bag contents. So yeah, get that into that bag, get it out to the corner of that island. Fingers crossed, that's the first sign of fish activity we've seen. Might be able to nick one. Drawn on since Matt joined me for our 48-hour session. All 3 rods are now out, all on single sticks to different areas of the lake, because this swim is so big. I can cover a bit more water by having my rods pointing at different angles to where I'm fishing to. So as you would have seen, Matt's been around to spray a bit of pellet in the areas that I'm going to be fishing because the fish down here get fed on pellet pretty quiet at times. So yeah, it'd be stupid not to go and give them a few scoops of pellet to go and get their heads down on. So as you can see, brolly is up, everything is in order to a point. So turn the camera around. This is my right hander, and it's going over here to like the little gap here, about a rod length or so just off, pretty much where light meets dark, and that takes into a sort of a back bay which comes all the way back around this island and back out this side. So if anything's sort of coming through, hopefully that might just stop them in their tracks. And there's a rig down there waiting for them. Middle rod obviously has gone off this island where that fish stuck his head out. So Matt again has sprayed some pellet right up the front front of this island, right off on the corner, and then left-hander. I did want to walk it down the bank and underarm it over to the main bulk of lilies here, but because of this patch here of lilies, it makes it hard for me to sort of underarm it out and then walk my rod back. It just makes it really awkward, and with this wind it's a right nightmare to do anything, to be quite honest. So rather than overcomplicate things for myself, I just, like I say, cast it directly down. Oh, what was that? Right-hander. Indication on the right-hander. A little bit of a liner. Might have just been the wind, to be fair. But still, where was I? So yeah, left-hander. Because of these lilies, it's a bit of a nightmare to underarm it and walk the rod back. So yeah, I've cast out directly down to that set of lilies. Probably a foot or so off it. But yeah, it's gone down quite spongy. Put a pop-up on there, but when I was casting a lead down there just to get the distance, it was coming back nice and clean. So there's nothing on there that's grabbing hold of the lead. So it's going down. I'm feeling the drop. It's just a little bit spongy, but enough to present a pop-up over. Again, I've been down there. It's a couple of scoops of pellet over it along the face of those lilies, hopefully just to draw the fish up. You know, all the oils and the smells and the leakage from them pellets being absolutely driven down there by this wind. Hopefully draw the fish up this end, and yeah, we might be able to, like I say, might be able to nick one. But for now, the rods are out. It's stupidly windy. New trolley's up, and I think it's time to probably get some food on the go because I'm absolutely starving. Well, it's about 3:30. I know we haven't really been down to Matt's swim yet, but yeah, there's a little set of lilies that done some bites last weekend for someone, and yeah, it's, like I say, it's about 3:30. It's done a bite for Matt. It's probably sort of mid double mirror. Give him a couple of beeps, and yeah, that was it. The spool started ticking away. So what was that taking on, Matt?
Just a little yellow wafter.
Little yellow wafter amongst some pellet that we'd sort of walked around and just scooped in from the other side of the lake earlier. But yeah, nice young fish. Angry. Its dorsal hasn't gone down since the minute we put it on the mat, mate, has it, to be fair? No. Bend and double on itself. But let's quickly swing it round, mate. Let's have a quick look at the other side. Like, you know, most of these fish in here probably haven't even seen a hook, to be fair. You know, the fishery's only been open really properly for a couple of weeks now. So yeah, these fish probably haven't even seen a rig, let alone had one in this mouth. So what was the scrap like, mate? Did it do anything, or?
No, it didn't really do a lot. Under the rod tip, a couple of minutes, that was it really. Yeah,
a really cool, nice little linear on that side. But we've got a few snaps, and we're going to slide it back and hopefully have another one in the morning. Well, good morning, and yeah, not the best start to the day. So been up since first light. Me and Matt have both heard the odd crash through the night, and yeah, we've sort of just gone down, asked him if he wants a brew. Kettle is on, absolutely gagging for a drink. But yeah, as he's come down into my swim, brought his mug down, the right hand rod, so the one that's going off into sort of like the channel area, well, where it goes in sort of like around the back of the island into the channel, just absolutely ripped off. Fish is boiled on the surface, started kiting left towards sort of like the other smaller islands. I've sort of reached down, just started to play it down on the side, and then yeah, the hook's just popped out. Obviously part of the venue rules state that you have to use barbless hooks, which, you know, it is what it is. You have to obviously abide by the rules. You have to stick to the rules. Barbless hooks, I don't really personally like using them if I can get away with sort of micro barbed or barbed. And then yeah, I'll always choose them over a barbless any day of the week, if they're obviously allowed at the venue. But yeah, it's just basically gone from right to left. I tried to kind of just side sweep it to just slow it down, and yeah, like I say, the hooks just popped out. I did have a couple of like odd beeps on that rod, but yeah, it just melted off out of nowhere, and as soon as it was on, it was off. But Matt's fish was a nice 14 pound 12 mirror, so we took both pictures of both sides of that for the venue owner, so obviously you can keep a track on his his fish levels and his fish stocks, etc. But yeah, other than that, not a lot to report. Bit of a kick in the nuts this morning for losing that one, but the rod's gone back out, one cast, it went out bang on. So like I say, it's still early days, so as that sun starts to make his way up over those trees over the back of me, the sun does beat down into that area of the lake to start with, so you never know, there might be another opportunity. But if not, then it gives me something to work on going into the rest of the day and tonight, and obviously tomorrow, knowing that obviously fish get over there and they're happy to pick up a hook bait over there. But for now, I'm going to get the brew on the go, and yeah, just see what pans out through the rest of the morning really. But yeah, not the best start, but something to work with anyway. Whilst we're just waiting for this sun to slowly start to rise before we think about maybe going around and baiting up our spots again, just wanted to talk you through really what I'm using for this session, and pretty much Matt as well. I'm hoping you can hear me. This wind is starting to really pick up again today, so it's proving difficult for the field in front, but I'll do my best. So in the mix, as you would have seen at the start of the video, the owner has obviously allowed us to use some of his own house pellet as such, which he does feed into the lake regularly. He's allowed us to obviously use that because one way or another it's going to be going into the lake, whether that's us using it or him. So what we're using is sort of 11mm pellet, and he does have some sort of slightly smaller 6 to 8mm pellets. So I've taken a good couple of scoops of them out and whacked them in a bucket, and then not only that, I've added some krill pellets as well, just for a different flecker colour, different breakdown, sort of different release, different releases of flavours and smells and stuff. So obviously they're the krill ones, so they'll just add another dimension to the mix. Basically what we're trying to do with our mix is just keep it really sort of bitty, because obviously the fish will be used to being bred and fed on pellets, so we wanted to keep it quite sort of pellet orientated. And then what I've done is just added a bag of the 10mm Triple N, again really small, slightly different colour to the darkness of the other pellets. I've added a handy pack bag of the Bait Tech 10mm Krillin tuna, again really small, really soft. And then after that I've just added sort of a small handful of bigger baits just in case I want to mix things up hook bait wise really. But yeah, a couple of the bigger items just in there, just as another different visual and another different size within the mix. What I've done then is obviously once that's all in the bucket, I've given it a good half a bottle of the krill stick mix liquid, got that in there, give it a good mix around so everything is covered. It's taking it, the pellets are just oozing attraction. Excuse me. The minute that they go out onto the lake bed, they're going to be releasing their own oils and stuff like that, obviously from the pellets themselves, and obviously this is hopefully as well going to draw fish in that may be passing over the area. Obviously it's done me one bite already baiting up with this, but yeah, unfortunately I didn't land it. Matt has a very similar mix as well, a mixture of pellets, small boilies and a load of liquid over the top. But as you can see from there, that is the sort of finished outcome really, just a whole host of different flavours, smells, items and different breakdown rates, which is really going to keep them rooting around. So like I said, they are used to seeing pellet, they are used to just seeing scoops and scoops of it being lashed out in different areas of the lake when when obviously they do their walk around and their, you know, bit of feeding to really help bring these young fish on, so they are accustomed to digging around and finding all this goodness out on the lake bed. So that's my mix. I've got a good half a bucket left yet. Like I say, I'm going to probably go and bait up a couple of spots again today, so that's what's done me the bite, and hopefully it will do me another one through the remaining sort of 24 hours, 36 hours of the session. Oh well, you would have seen me just do that little bait piece then. If I would have kept the camera rolling for like another minute or two, you would have seen a fish literally sort of nut out 3 or 4 rod lengths just in front of this swim, like in front of my swim. 3 or 4 rod lengths max, you know, an underarm flick. So I've seen nothing else all morning apart from obviously having that fish and losing that one. I think I'm going to basically get the island rod in that's just like I say, put over to the island last night. That's done nothing after seeing obviously a show yesterday. And I think, you know, I'm just going to flick it out into open water and keep it on a solid bag, because it's a good sort of, you know, one bite nick a bite tactic. So I think I'm going to get that one in, get another solid bag made up, flick it out into open water and give it a couple of hours at least until, you know, at least until lunchtime when I decide what I want to do with all the rods. But yeah, I'm going to quickly get a solid bag made up, and hopefully sticking a bag in that area might just be able to nick me a fish, and I might actually be able to land it this time. Formulating a little plan of my own, and yeah, just getting everything ready, and Matt is in. Which spot was that off, mate? Going down the channel. Good take, better than the other one. Yeah. So Matt has basically deposited this rod just down this channel between obviously the island and the bank there. Has that one been out all night, mate, or? Trying to wipe out his other rod now. Right then, so that's the second of Matt's session, taking down that channel between the island and obviously the bank on the opposite side. What was that, mate? Wafter, you say?
Yeah, just a white one.
White wafter on a spinner rig, and yeah, that's the rewards. Was that £12? Just over £12, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Obviously there are 80 fresh stocked fish in here, up to sort of high 20s. And yeah, this one's got a bit more growing to go before it reaches that sort of size, but more than welcome nevertheless. Just flipping around, mates, just having a quick look at the other side. Really pretty fish for its size, beautiful scales. Super angry, just like the first one, but really pretty young fish. Really good hook hold as well, good inch or so back. But yeah, look at that one. Nice little slice scales right down the back of it there, look. Beautiful fish. We're going to slip it back. So I've got my own little plan of action to try and nick myself a fish to put into action. So yeah, we'll slip this one back and I'll talk you through what I'm doing. Well, before I was rudely disturbed, back to my swim, what I'm going to do, myself and Matt, well, Matt even, we see one show yesterday right off the front of this sort of swim opposite me, and Matt has just seen one before. Obviously he had that fish show right off the front of these reeds. So what I am going to do is cast this rod over to the far bank, land it on the margin over there, just prop my rod up like that so I can go and retrieve the lead easy, know where it is. I walk round, just drop it off the front of these bushes here, drop it down by hand, so I'm not trying to guess the distance of, you know, wanging a lead over there. Drop it in by hand, put a handful of pellet over the top, and then yeah, try and keep everything really sort of inconspicuous and unknown of my presence, and hopefully it'll nick me a fish. This is the rod that was down in this lily area down here, just in this sort of channel area. It hasn't done nothing all night, not really sort of interested, any interest or any fish down there at all this morning, but it seems silly to ignore, you know, signs of fish at least in this area. So that's the plan of attack. Like I said, give it a couple of hours and reassess the situation, but that's what I'm going to do for now, and hopefully it works. Right, so I'm round the other side of the lake. As you can see, I've retrieved the lead. All I need to do now is clip on the rig. So that's the rig on, clipped up. I just need to drop it down the other side of these bushes and give it a little helping of that little pellet mix, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it might help me stick my first fish on the mat. Matt's in. He got all this free water, this nice big sort of area of the sort of right hand side entrance end of the lake. He did a couple of boshes up this end last night, and yeah, he's kind of wanged a single pop-up up here on its own, and yeah, it's literally just gone ripping off as we were sort of sat discussing sort of tactics and stuff for the rest of the evening and the afternoon. But yeah, absolute ripper. We've walked up the margin to meet the fish because yeah, there's no sort of trees or anything like that in the way, so there's a little bed of lilies there that might have caused him a problem, but happy days. Not gonna lie, a bit peed off that it ain't one of my rods that's ripped off, but still, it's successful for the vlog, for Matt's angling adventures. Oh, I swam straight in. Get in there. As action seems to be null and void in my swim, I thought it'd be a good opportunity to talk you through how I've got now all three rods set up. I've recently needed a little tackle box replenishment, and yeah, I was kind of introduced to Codex Intelligent Tackle. Now, like I say, my tackle box needs a little bit of a top up. I'm usually quite uniformed in my approach as to how I approach fisheries, and a lot of the tackle sort of really took my fancy and was a good like for what I'd already been using. So how I've got my free rod set up now, and will be for the remainder of the session, is what you may have seen me use before, is a lead clip system. What I've done this time round though is to sort of mimic the sort of freshness of the lake bed, where it has been sort of recently dug within sort of like the last year or so. I've gone with a mud brown setup this time round, where more often than not I'd go down the sort of weed green line. I've gone with a mud brown setup, so that's got a mud brown lead clip system, mud brown graviton tungsten tubing. Now this stuff is so heavy. I used to just use the plain sort of, you know, standard out the packet rig tubing, but I really did like the suppleness of this rig tubing. Like I say, it weighs a ton, and yeah, it just sinks like a brick, and as you can see, it just hugs the contours of just, you know, my fingers, let alone obviously the lake bed itself. So that one is, like I say, the mud brown. Obviously you can get various other colours such as the silt and the weed green. But yeah, I've gone for, like I say, this time round I've gone for the mud brown, just to mimic what I'm seeing out there on the lake bread. So gone with that for the rig tubing. Like I said, I was really impressed by that. Really heavy, sinks like a brick. So always a good start to keep your end tackle sort of all pinned down and out the way. And like I say, then I'll move on to like the lead clip. Well, you would have seen me use these before. A mud brown, sort of translucent, sort of muddy brown colour. Again, you just slide the lead clip's sleeve. You just slide the tubing into the actual sleeve itself, like so. So that's all flush. And then obviously that sleeve goes over the lead clip. And I like on these lead clips is there's like a little sort of nodule on there, little sort of like knobble on the actual stem of the lead clip. And what I like is a good sort of indicator, really, to be able to just push that sleeve just up to that little sort of knobble on the lead clip, just to allows enough resistance, you know, if a fish sort of shakes its head. But with, like I say, the lead wanting to just pop off, it can do really easy. So that just allows enough resistance for the lead to stay on, but then obviously allows just as much ease for the lead to drop off if need be. Now with these lead clips, these are the total lead clip system. So again, like I say, where is it? The mud ones I've gone for to mimic, like I say, the actual tubing itself. So they come in a pack of 5, which I was impressed with, because you don't want to go buy in separates as such. You can just buy that all in one go. So lead clips, the lead clip sleeves, and you also get the 5 swivels in there. But what I like to do, as you can see from the swivel, is I've always used a quick change swivel, so the ones with the little hooks on the end. So again, quick change swivel, tie that onto your main line, and what you can do is obviously just pull that inside the actual lead clip itself. That allows obviously ease of changing your rig if you've got a fish, or just popping the rig out of the fish's mouth when it's in the net. Obviously ease for transportation to your mat, etc. So the one other thing about these lead clips is that you can use them as sort of like a fixed sort of lead setup, or with not using the pin that they also come with in the packet. There's a pin in there, and if you can see in the lead clip, there's a hole. You can basically secure the swivel inside the lead clip, so it's more of like a sort of fixed rig, like bolt sort of effect. Whereas at the moment, the slightest little shake from the fish makes it a bit more of a free running setup. So if you get that swivel back inside there, you get a fish, it's shaking and it's gone, and then it's, like I say, a bit more free running. Not only that, like I say, you can put the pin inside the lead clip. So like I say, inside the packet there, you get the little pins, pop it through that little hole, and then that swivel ain't coming out anywhere, and then obviously that will allow for a bit more resistance against the lead, and even allow the lead to discharge a bit easier. But if you're fishing somewhere like here where there are very little underwater snags, that sort of thing, then I'm quite happy to just leave that pin out and just have that little bit of extra movement. There's a bit of resistance at the start before this sort of swivel can pop out, but once it's out, it becomes free running. Not something that the fish are normally accustomed to dealing with normally. You know, a lot of swivels are just bang tight inside the lead clip, and yeah, they're kind of, like I say, that fixed slash sort of bolt effect, where it's just a rigid weight and there ain't no movement on there. But just having that little bit of movement on that swivel may just work in your favour. What I will do then is, to finish off the rig, is obviously you like to use an anti-tangle sleeve. Always recommend you to use an anti-tangle sleeve if you're if and when you're out fishing, because it allows that anti-tangle sleeve to kick away your rig when the rig's in flight, and you know, when it's going down, it'll just push it away, and that'll land nice and flush on the bottom for you. So again, to mimic what I'm already using, keeping everything uniform, same colour, is the mud brown anti-tangle sleeves. Now, because these are quite long, sometimes I like to use relatively short ones depending on the length of the rig. So obviously you can cut these down to size as well if you really want to, which I tend to do, because I don't tend to use quite long ones. But obviously the longer ones you can also use obviously for zig fishing and stuff like that if you've got long hook lengths. So like I say, to keep it all uniformed, I'm just using the mud ones. What I like about that, the whole Codex stuff as well, was obviously just browsing and having a look, is that they all come sort of uniformed setup. So you've obviously got gravel, lead clips, etc., gravel anti-tangle sleeves, weed green clips, silk clips, silk black anti-tangle sleeves. You've got weed green graviton tungsten tubing. It all, you know, it's all uniformed, it's all the same color. It's all gonna, depending on your lake bed that you're trying to match to, you can all pretty much use everything from the sleeve to the lead clip to the lead clip sleeve to then to the tubing, and it's all basically uniform, so it all pretty much matches itself. And that's kind of what I look for, rather than just bodging anything together, mix and match. So yeah, well impressed with this stuff. Like I say, I'm using the mud brown stuff today just because it will match the lake bed perfectly. So yeah, just thought I'd give you a little insight as to what I'm using. That's mimics now on all 3 rods. Gonna go with wafters through the night. Matt's had bites on wafters. I've obviously lost one this morning on wafters, so I just need to get a rig on this one now and then think about getting it out for the night. So I just finished doing a little rig talk as to how I've got these rods set up. And the rod that I lost the fish on this morning has gone absolutely rattling off, and it's already, I've only had it on for about 30 seconds and it's already been leery. It's got caught or snagged up the back of something, and at one point I thought I'd lost it. I had to go down the left hand side because it tried taking me around the back of the island, and yeah, I'm not going to lie, my backside is absolutely twitching. So I'm going to shut up now, just concentrate on trying to land this fish. Yeah, finally, I am in such a better mood now. We're before he starts to swim off with the net, we'll get him mat and that sorted. We'll get him up for cameras and pictures, but oh my god, that is such a relief. Obviously, after losing that one, things looking pretty bleak today with no real sort of sign of fish. Oh, I'm buzzing, so happy with that. Glad I persevered now, mega happy. So let's get it out and we'll have a little look. Literally ounces, like I say, ounces short of £20, and what a mega looking fish. Stunning, lovely, look at that. Absolutely bang on. Dorsal up for effect, and what an absolute chunk of a fish. Happy days. I actually went round the back earlier on, and you know what, Matt's been baiting quite heavy. I went and gave it a good 3 or 4 scoops around that spot, and it looks like I'll be going back and doing the same because that was the reward. Let's fling it round and show you the other side before it slaps me in the face. But what a lush looking fish. Do you mind just passing me that water, buddy? As I say before in my videos, when it's sunny like this, up in the sky, you know, the sun's up in the sky, just keep them all wet, covered, and they'll probably behave a little bit better for you on the mat as well. But here's the other side. What a mega looking, just shy of 20-pounder. Give it a couple of months, this will be pushing the 20-pound barrier easy. And what a lovely clean fish. We're going to quickly get some snaps of both sides for the owner so he can keep his records, and we'll slip it back to his watery home. Happy days. Yes. So there we go then, that's the presentation that I've been fishing. So it's a slip deep rig down there, and that's a triple M wafter mounted to the swivel, bait swivel, and a little 12mm super fruit pop-up, chopped in half, just trimmed down, and then mounted on top of the wafter, just to give it a little bit more visibility, a little bit more buoyancy. And as you can see, just wafts around nicely. Hook led flat on the lake bed, and yeah, looking absolutely bang on for a bite. So just tested that out, make sure you know it's not too buoyant, but yeah, look at it, absolutely bang on, cock on for a bite, and that's what's going to be going back out for the rest of the night. So as you can see behind me, I only had 2 rods out anyway. One rod I just caught on, and I thought, you know what, I'll get the other rod in, freshen it all up. The day's getting on now, it's probably pushing on 5 o'clock. It means I can go around, have a bit of a bait up in the areas that I'm obviously going to be baiting up for the night, and get the rods back out, and then just sit back and watch the evening unfold. Yesterday there was a number of shows sort of just going into dark, so I want to make sure I get these rods out bang on, and they've got bait over them, and then I can sit back and, like I say, hopefully just watch the evening roll on. And you know, there's going to be less disturbance at that sort of witching hour as such. So I'm going to grab the bucket of bait. Has been soaking all day. I've been keeping it in the sun, really sort of, you know, warming up those oils and that liquid, and, you know, hopefully penetrating those boilies and coating them pellets lovely. So they're all looking decent in the bucket. Been giving them a good stir around. So I want to get my backside round the other side, get a good serving of them in over 2 of the spots, and like I say, get back round, get the rods out, sit back and chill. Obviously we've had the rods out sort of about 5 o'clock-ish. Nothing's really materialised. We have seen one show tonight over on the far bank, just off the far bank, so it's looking promising for one of my 2 rods that are kind of, you know, running over to that far margin. So yeah, there's a good helping of bait over there as well, which might just draw them in. Oh well, just after midnight, rod that's gone down the left hand channel has gone absolutely melting off, and yeah, the reward, a nice 24 £8 common at the moment, just resting in the sling for a sec. Matt heard the take, it's been down and helped me out, weigh it and everything. So yeah, we're just going to get it up on the mat, get some footage, get some photos, and yeah, oh, buzzing when that absolute one toner ripped off, had me up out the bag. Real nice battle underneath the rod tip, and yeah, oh, what a mega fish. 24 £8 common. Come on. Like the other 2 rods, absolutely loaded it in. We loaded it in with the pellet, wasn't shy at all. Real big scooping, 3 or 4, maybe, you know, around a sort of like a bivvy size spread, and yeah, this is a reward, an absolute chunk of a common, 24 £8, and yeah, absolutely buzzing with this one. Mega tail on it, and it put up a mega scrap coming down that left hand margin. Didn't want to give itself up easy, but yeah, buzzing with this one. Just flip it around, have a look at the other side. Obviously it's a common, so you know, pretty much both sides are the same, but we'll have a look anyway for video purposes. But yeah, what a mega fish. Absolutely made up of that. £19.8, £19.11 mirror, and then there's £24 £8 common. Good stamper fish for two hookups. Buzzing.
Jammy bollocks is in again. be a morning walk.
Wow, what an awesome start to the morning. Matt had just come down for a coffee. It's rather fresh this morning. Sat there, left hand rod, beep, beep, beep. And the result, a nice little mirror in the sling. You would have seen probably Matt recording as we had to make our way up the bank because it took off like an absolute steam train. And as you well know, there's lilies all over the show down there. So I ran down the bank with a rod. And yeah, believe it or not, he managed to find the most smallest bed of lilies, considering there's like, you know, 2 bigger beds around it. I think he managed to find the set of lilies with like 4 stems on it. And yeah, it took a good 5 minutes of trying to maneuver the rod from all different angles. And yeah, it's still on, and now resting in that sling, ready to be weighed and photographed. I'm absolutely buzzing. Was not expecting that this morning. You know, it's probably just after 8 o'clock, and like I say, that rod down there just wasn't really sort of my my sort of banker rod, or a rod that I would have expected any bites from, and that's sort of like 2 in 8 hours now. So yeah, I'm absolutely made up with that. Oh, we're gonna go get everything sorted, net, mat, sling, scales, mat, etc. We'll get it up for the camera and have a little look. So there we go then, the reward of a 8 o'clock morning bite, which I weren't expecting. Just over £15. Another immaculate, clean looking fish. Taking on wafter again, down towards them lilies in the open water area. Like I say, I give it a good 4 or 5 handfuls of pellet again last night after that fish at midnight. And yeah, this one's obviously turned up this morning, fancying some breakfast himself. So look at that, such clean, nice looking fish. Done the pictures of both sides. I'm going to slip him back. Hopefully there's still a chance of nicking another one before we have to go. Wow, the morning is yeah, disappeared rapidly. You know, it was a frantic start to the morning, just after 8 with that fish that was completely out of the blue. But yeah, it's now gone 12 o'clock, and as you can tell, the sun is right up high in the sky, and yeah, the day, like I say, the morning's just disappeared. As you can probably tell from behind me, I'm just in the process of having a proper sort out and a sort of pack down. The brolly is pretty much halfway down, just need to unpeg that. A lot of you guys have been asking me about the tactical brolly and if I've got my hands on one yet, etc. And what I decided to do was just give you do a separate video and give you an insight and a quick look at the tactical brolly, the features, etc. And yeah, what I'm going to do is upload that separately rather than try and cram it and sort of lengthen this video by sort of 5-10 minutes. So I'll do a separate video for the tactical brolly and just give you a bit of a tour really. So hopefully if you're in the market for a new brolly and you were one of the guys that were asking me about, you know, what I thought of it and that sort of thing, then yeah, it might be worth just checking out the other video that I'm going to upload pretty much alongside this one. So yeah, as it stands, 3 fish, 1 lost. Mega happy with the way that the session's panned out after sort of the first part of the session, and Matt having 3 fish and me still trying to scrape a bite. I am really happy with the way that this is panned out. So There's still, like I say, a good hour and a half yet, so there's a chance that one of these rods still may go. Bites have just been coming out of the blue anyway, so who knows, you know. But if I don't get any more fish, I'm mega happy with what I've managed to catch on this session alone. So yeah, hopefully I might be able to catch it with you in the next hour and a half. But yeah, we'll leave it there for now. Real quick update, and yeah, I'll catch it with you right at the end of the session. Well, as you can see behind me, everything is now packed away. Dave, the owner, has very kindly sort of just let us fish on through the morning, and like I say, it is now just coming up to 1 o'clock. He has actually got people coming around to have a little look around the lake, so we thought it's only fair, you know, for the fact that obviously he's let us stay on for a few extra hours, that we pack up, get ourselves on the road, and yeah, give him free roam to take his guests around to yeah, to check the place out. And if they're anything like me, they will be suitably impressed. So yeah, Walden Estate Fishery. It has been a blast. Thoroughly enjoyed my session. Really happy that I managed to bag a few myself, and obviously Matt's been able to nick a few fish as well. But yeah, what a wicked 48 hours it's been. I feel like we're probably clutching at straws today anyway. There's not been anywhere near as many shows as we've seen in sort of like the previous couple of days, and like I say, the sun is really high in the sky. There just feels a little bit of a difference about today compared to the last couple of days. So like I say, we have got family commitments this afternoon, so we're going to get ourselves on the road nice and early. If you have got this far in the video, thank you for watching as always. I hope you've enjoyed watching it. We thoroughly enjoyed fishing it, put it that way. Feel free to stick in the comments below any questions you might have about the fishery. You know, I'm always happy to hear your feedback on the video, and if you've enjoyed it, etc., give me a thumbs up if you liked it. And as always, don't forget to come and get involved over in my social media, so my Instagram, Facebook, or whatever. You know, always come and say hello. Drop me a message, and like I say, I'm always happy to have a little carpy chit chat with you guys. But yeah, from me, from Matt, who's up there, who's just getting his last rod in, and Walden Estate Fishery, we're gonna knock it on the head there and say goodbye. So as always, thanks for watching, and I will catch up with you when I'm next out on the bank. Right, so I nearly forgot. Competition winner. So I'm home after my 48-hour session, and I've been through all the entries, close to 250. So for those of you that got involved in the competition, thank you very much. I've had a good scroll through, and yeah, I've decided on my winner, and that is Dad and Lad Fishing. So Dad and Lad Fishing, if you've watched this video, feel free to get in touch with me. Give me your address, and I'll get that booking bits straight out to you. Again, thanks for everyone who's supporting my channel, subscribing, liking, commenting, you name it, on all my videos. I really appreciate it, and here's to 4,000.